God, it's amazing to see so many fabulous people aligned to this incredible subject. I'm David Hill. I'm current chair of Curlew Action. I'd like to welcome you all to this Curlew Fieldworkers Workshop, the second. Last one 2 years ago was in Norfolk. It's amazing to have so many talented fieldcraft experts and enthusiasts gathered together to forge a much better understanding of this magnificent wader. I know some of you great old, well not that old, sorry Jenny, but older friends that I've not seen for quite a while, and I'm looking forward to meeting as many of you later as possible. We've got an amazing packed agenda, a programme that will, I hope, release and reveal some fabulous facts and tell us what we need to be doing next in relation to Curlew. So, I put here, well, at a time of political and geopolitical turmoil, I don't know what I'm referring to there, of course, you know that, aren't we fortunate to have our collective interest in this iconic bird and to promote its conservation for the greater good of the natural environment and, of course, ourselves. I think it's fabulous that we all come together around this one species, and I know that you do much more work beyond Curlew, but that's what we're here to talk about this weekend. It's fair to say that we've all been incredibly touched by everyone's desire to work together to develop practical solutions for the curlew's recovery and conservation, and we've got a heck of a long way to go. I'd like to first especially thank those who've helped design the workshop, particular thanks to Flo, Charlie and of course Mary. And to those of you that have agreed to give talks and to lead the sessions that we're going to attend over the next couple of days. We simply couldn't do these workshops without your sterling efforts. It's absolutely fair to say. It's all been done. We don't do it on a fantastically large fund. This is all about the heart and about the love of this species and the natural world, obviously. So thank you all so much. Also, a big thanks to Stuart Sharp here from the University in Lancaster for being our host. So thank you, Stuart, much appreciated. What a great venue it is. And many of our overseas attendees, I have to say, and welcome to you, especially coming all the way to this miserable part of the world, particularly this time of year. You'll be bemused by the sticks of Blackpool rock. So we decided we ought to give you an explanation. You'll all get, if you have not picked it up, you'll all get a stick of Blackpool rock with Curlew Action logo on it. I thought the actual Curlew went through the rock, but I was slightly disappointed about that. We couldn't actually get that done in time. We did design the rock, of course, like that, but it didn't come out. Anyway, Blackpool rock was invented in the 19th century as an indulgent treat for holidaymakers that came here for, not in February, obviously, but they came here for their holidays, usually in June and July. And they buy rock on a massive scale. But enjoy it at your peril because, of course, Curlew Action cannot be held responsible, I have to say the health warning, for impacts on your teeth, dentures, fillings, caps or eventual tooth decay. So be warned, but enjoy it nonetheless. Now, I'm going to move very quickly on before I hand over to Stuart to this fabulous gentleman called Gerard Bohr. I did know Gerald back in the 1990s, and I'm going to read you out a dedication because we wanted to dedicate this workshop to Gerard, who very, very sadly passed away recently. And this dedication has been written by his amazing colleague David Stroud, ex of the Joint Nature Conservation Committee. And I'm going to read it out so I get it right. So Gerard was completely multifaceted. His roots were as a scientist and wader ringer. His PhD was ringing waders on the Wadden Sea, and I remember meeting him many years ago in that context. And he continued active fieldwork throughout his life, ringing garden birds right up to the end of his life. And through those pioneering wide-scale studies, he saw the need for bird conservation at international scales. Not at the local, but international. These birds we know migrate, waders particularly, phenomenal distances. and he was core to that. And then later he had a position as the Dutch government's lead for international biodiversity affairs, which is where I met him. And he argued the case for what eventually became the African-Asian Migratory Waterbird Agreement. A long bit of a mouthful, but and I'm not even going to paraphrase it now because I've forgotten. But that migratory bird agreement was fundamental to how we saw the world and the conservation of staging posts, etc., etc. So that's no small task with more than a decade of false starts and progressively growing ambition. So it took a long time to get it established, but as it is, amazing. So having brought the AEWA to life, he then took on the role of the agreement's interim secretariat, seeking its wide legal adoption by the range states in the European Union. And the major challenge, given typical reluctance of countries to sign new international treaties, especially those that cost money, and we might even find it even more difficult to do that now. So at the same time, he was intensely practical, and in the early 1990s saw the need to support the fledgling conservation NGOs in the newly democratic states of the former USSR, and it led the Dutch government funding of a major field station in the Tamar Peninsula in the Arctic in support of the Biosphere Reserve there. And as well as through his wader links, facilitating the first access for Western European bird researchers to these remote areas. So that's a legacy that continues to this day. So we've got a fantastically packed programme. I hope you all enjoy the workshop and see it bearing fruit in more curlews on the ground in the coming years. I'm going to hand over to Stuart now, who's going to take us through his slides. Thank you very much.